This morning on Live in the D, we are hitting on some pretty hot topics that have women and parents talking amongst themselves. It's time this morning for our mom panel, and joining us today is Amber Luchart. She's a mother of 3 and the blogger behind Metro Detroit Mommy. Great picture, by the way. Also next to her, Lisa LaGrou is here. She's the founder of OaklandCountyMoms.com, also a mom of 2. And we are welcoming another mother to the mom panel. Nikki Little is here with us. Nikki is a mom of twins. She blogs and she's also the social media manager of Identity. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. We have a lot to talk about today. Breastfeeding in public making headlines again after a mother who was actually at an LA fitness resort in California was told to leave the locker room where she was breastfeeding her 9-month-old. Instead, she was told to use the bathroom in the child care room. This is creating a lot of buzz. People are talking about this. She said apparently that there was only a toilet to sit on, and she doesn't understand why other women in the locker room complain. So it's actually women who complained. Do you think that's out of line?
Yes, extremely.
What? How so?
I think that as long as a woman is discreet, that she should be able to breastfeed anywhere, as long as she's not, taking clothes off and she's not exposed. I breastfeed my daughter, and I will do it anywhere that I feel comfortable. I always try to find a place that's not out in the open.
Sure.
I'll try to find them, some place that's not right in the middle of a room. I might go off to the corner.
Sure.
I try to be discreet, and there's never anything that's exposed. So I don't understand why women of all people would be uncomfortable with the whole thought of something that's so very natural.
What do you make of that women were the first ones to complain? It was a women's locker room.
It's a women's locker room. You can get undressed in a women's locker room.
Right,
so
as people do all the time.
Exactly. It's not a co-ed locker room. It's a women's locker room. It's completely suitable. It's fine.
What do you think the best way to handle breastfeeding in public is? Because I know, this has been debated for decades, really.
Right. I feel like as long as the woman is discreet and she's conscientious of the people around her, it's a natural thing to do, and people have to understand that, and they have to accept it.
Okay, so another hot topic we're talking about this morning is flirting. Flirting, is it really cheating? There's a judge in France who ruled that a man could actually divorce his wife because she cheated on him by flirting with men on an online dating site. She never had any physical contact with any of the men. Do you ladies think this is cheating?
I think it is, because it was an ongoing situation. So it wasn't just a one-off time. She was having an emotional affair. There's a differentiation between emotional and physical, but still emotional is a affair, it's a cheating, and I think she took it to the extreme.
I don't think it necessarily constitutes cheating, but I completely think it's disrespectful. But I think it's the point in a relationship that if you are in a marriage and you want to work at something, take that as a sign to sit down and say, why was she doing this to begin with? Do we want to work something out so it doesn't get to the point of the real cheating?
Right, and I think what adds another layer to this is it's not really just, quote-unquote flirting. It's someone who actually made the effort to go to an online dating site, and it, like you said, Nikki, it's an ongoing thing, so it kind of makes things a little bit different. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Not to put you on the spot, but yeah. What would you do if that was your husband? Because I think a lot of ladies, that's the first thing that goes through your mind. You wonder, what would I do if I was in that situation?
Well, like I said, I think at first I'd be grateful that it didn't get to the worst situation possible, but that is the point where you have to say, why was it happening, and if this marriage is worth us working on it, what do we need to change so that it doesn't go further?
Okay, all right, well, this has been making headlines here the last couple of weeks. Our next topic, women packing heat. There's a fashion designer in Chicago whose designs are now making clothes for women to make it easier for them to carry guns after Illinois changed its laws on concealed carry weapon. Women, as you may know, are one of the fastest growing segments in the market of gun purchases. I know we're looking at some of these fashions here. Do you think there's a real demand for this, or is this something that's just kind of creating some buzz?
I think
is it
it's
hard
a little
to say?
bit of both, yeah, because if you read the statistics in the article, there is a demand for it, but is there a demand across the country? I don't think so. I can see it being more relevant in a neighborhood like Chicago, where there are a lot of gangs and a lot of violence happening, but I think one of my main questions would be, how much are these accessories? How much are these dresses that the designers are creating? Because again, I think about it as if a single woman with children in a gang-related environment, that might make sense for them, but are they going to spend hundreds of dollars on a dress to conceal a weapon? Probably not.
Is this even smart protection, or again, is this something that a fashion designer is doing to try to create a little buzz?
I can't imagine that it's a necessity to have a fashion line kind of worked all around carrying a weapon. If I had something, it probably would be in my purse or something, It just seems odd to me that a whole fashion line is going to come out of it.
Yeah, all right. And then also this morning, I know that Guy kind of cringes when we talk about this. We're talking about men feeling the pain of childbirth. And this is my favorite story of the day, by the way. This is something that women can only understand. But some men in China volunteered to actually be hooked up to a machine that simulates the pain of childbirth. Many could not get to the threshold that women stand during childbirth. Do you think that maybe do you wish that men could experience childbirth? We often hear women say that, like, we wish, guys could experience the pain that we all go through.
It's a matter of mind. So it's not a matter of who's physically stronger to go through the situation. It's a mind thing, And I think in this situation, these guys were almost at a disadvantage because they didn't have a child that they were thinking about to get to that end point.
Sure.
That's a good point. And I delivered both of my children naturally with no drugs, and it was all about an emotional.
Getting to that finish line. Right, you have something to strive
I talked myself through it the first time. The second time I hypnobirthed, it was no drugs and no pain. So it's all a mental thing. I think women are mentally strong people, but I wouldn't say a guy couldn't do it if he had the end result like we have.
But it's different when you're hooking them up to a machine to kind of simulate that.
It's easy to back out of that.
What do you think?
Well, that's what I was just thinking, was that they have a choice. They can say, okay, I've had enough, and then they can quit. When you're having a baby, you can't say, well, I give up, right? I give up.
Turn the machine off.
And as far as like women and comparing men and women, I don't think it is a comparison. I don't think there is, because I think, as you said, that if men were put in those same situations, and sometimes they are, where they're going through extreme pain.
Extreme pain,
They
right.
live through it because you don't have a choice.
You
just have to do it.
Right.
So, and my other comment was, who thinks of these things?
I know. There's a woman somewhere who came up
it was
with
a guy actually, like, oh yeah, I'm a big man, and I can do this.
Yeah.
And,
Nikki, what do you think?
I feel like women were given the gift of childbirth for a reason, and we can't question it. We can't force it upon men. And to me personally, as long as I feel like my husband, which he appreciated, he understood everything that I went through to have my twins.
The appreciation is huge.
Exactly.
All right. Well, on that note, and I heard Guy saying thank you. Guy, we'll send it back.
We
no
absolutely
Guy.
appreciate what you've done. Don't for a moment. That's because that's what I think sparks this conversation, is this implication that we don't, and we do. By the way, my wife just texted me. She's ordering one of those machines.